Hey everyone, thank you for checking in. If you're a fan of the show, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, but most importantly, hit that notification bell. And now in this week's episode, today I'm joined with the one and only Ben's Gene.
Have you ever wanted to start investing in real estate, but maybe you're afraid you didn't know where to start? Maybe you don't have enough money. My name is Ed Hendrickson and I'm a real estate investor. And today I'm going to tell you just how you can get started with the tools you already have.
And it got down to negative 64 after the wind chill.
Wow.
And I woke up in the middle of the night and my one man had opened up and I was slowly filling with snow.
Welcome everyone to episode 14 of This Is Culture. Today I'm joined with the one and only Ben's Gene. Benz, thank you for co-hosting today.
Thank you.
No worries, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure for having me.
If you've ever watched our show, you know that when you're co-hosting with us, we cover the topics, the trends, the things that are happening right now. So we call it culture trends.
Okay.
Are you ready to hear about this?
I'm ready. Let me know about them and let's see if I'm up with the culture.
Well, you're gonna like the first one because
Okay.
I see you like to, dress very dapper. Tomorrow, the largest shopping mall in the entire United States is opening. It's called the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford. Have you heard about this?
I overheard about it, but I didn't really know when it's gonna open. I thought the project was still going.
Well, it's been going on for decades, and they tried to open it. It doesn't work. Then other developers come in, but finally they've got it up and running. Tomorrow they're actually going to be having a limited opening, which is just going to be one of the amusement parks. It's a Nickelodeon amusement park, and it's already sold out. I think it's about $40 a ticket, but the lines for it are going to be out of this world. So it's going to bring a lot of tourism to New Jersey. So how do you feel about that?
A lot of tourists, a lot of money, a lot of traffic, especially going into the city. If you, I guess, traveling to George Washington, so there's going to be a lot of traffic. But to me, I guess I will definitely check it out, though.
It's progress for New Jersey.
Yes, it is. It is. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's exciting and the attraction. Now I have somewhere I could take my kids.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking. Winters, right? That's
Yes.
something to do.
Yes.
Next topic that we're going to talk about is going to be definitely in your wheelhouse. So, Airbnb. I don't know if you've ever tried it, if you ever stayed at one, or if you have any Airbnbs yourself, because I know you have a lot of properties. But Airbnb is now starting to become regulated by local officials, especially in California. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but they're limiting the usage of Airbnbs to certain areas. First of all, if you're in a residential area, they're trying, local cities are saying that you can't have an Airbnb there because it's not a commercial district. It has to be commercial in order for you to do it. And if you do it in a residential district, I believe you have to be the owner of the home. You have to live in the home, and then you can only do it for 120 days out of the year. They're putting a lot of restrictions on it. How do you feel about that? Is that kind of like stopping the technology? Is it stopping progression?
Well, I don't think it's a good thing, especially we're living in a world like more millennials, and it's coming very popular. And I think the way it was, I'm sure that I didn't see there was anything wrong with it. I don't have any Airbnb myself, but I would like to be more educated about it in order for me to understand, especially if I want to do it in the future. The fact that I have a lot of homes, but I do know, like in Jersey, it wasn't a lot of city that's actually approved for Airbnb, even though people are doing it all over the place.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it was either Newark, Jersey City, and one more town in New Jersey that actually approved for Airbnb.
Yeah.
Even though you see other people doing it, I know sooner or later it would have been regulated.
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where people are complaining now because the neighbors are saying that people are coming in and out of the house all the time. I've actually had a situation where that happened to me. I Airbnb'd one of my properties and the neighbors complained.
I called the cops because you were being noisy, man, and I tried to get you to stop, and you wouldn't stop. They won't stop partying. Officer, you know how it is.
Get to sleep. We have a baby. Max working
we
in the
got
morning.
jobs.
I had to stop my Airbnb activities and just rent it out to a regular tenant. So it is a thing, and I feel that sooner or later, it's going to have to be taken care of, which I mean is that you're going to have to allow Airbnbs to work because you're putting too many restrictions on homeowners, and I feel like that's never a good thing. Now, the next topic I want to talk to you about, Ben's, last Monday, tickets went on sale for the new Star Wars movie. the rise of Luke Skywalker.
Okay, why don't you teach me about that?
Well, I'm not too sure about what it's going to consist of, but I do know one thing. I do know that Star Wars movies always do well, and they're probably going to break all types of box office records with this one. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. 9 episodes in now. I'm not sure if you remember as a kid the first original 3 movies they did.
The first original 3 I remember, but I haven't been able to catch it up with everything that's going on.
You haven't watched the movie since the 80s, I get it.
Yes.
You've been so busy.
But again, since you brought that up, I think I'm gonna wait until it's sold out. Like, then I'll go to the movies maybe a week later or 2 weeks later.
Yeah, you have to wait till it calms down a little bit first.
Yeah, I can't do all the traffic sold out,
Yeah.
So I think I'll wait.
What was your favorite character from Star Wars? Do you remember someone that you connected with?
It's been so many years. I don't even think I remember. Why don't you update me with what are the new characters or the old characters? Are they still there?
Well, I heard from your media director that Han Solo is probably your favorite character because he's a hustler, you're a hustler.
Oh man, so that's a good thing. So I definitely have a reason now to watch it.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, moving right along, guys, I want to hit you with the question of the day. So first for you, Benz, I want to ask you, what is your favorite movie growing up?
Favorite movie growing up? I don't think you want me to say that in the air.
That's okay.
Scarface.
Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend!
I love it. That's a classic.
That's a classic. I remember, being in high school, I had to do like an essay between Macbeth and Scarface. So that was considered the modern day Macbeth, which is almost the same thing. Power, wealth, which is things that, I don't know about the crime, but that was always things that intrigued me.
Yeah, no, I have heard that correlation before, and that's great that you brought that up. So same question goes for you guys today. What is the favorite movie of all time? Is it Scarface? Is it another movie that was an epic? Or is it a movie that no one's ever heard of before? Just leave it down below in the comments, and I'd love to hear about it. So Benz, today's topic is being a mentor, and I'm sure I have the right person in studio today because you're a mentor. We've all been mentored before.
Correct.
And how important do you think mentoring is for people?
Oh, mentoring, definitely. That's very necessary. The mentorship offers so much that you could learn from somebody who already been in that shoes, who experienced the issues of life, and now that person is making things a lot easier for you coming in, and I think that's very important. I wish, I have a lot of people that I consider mentors to me. I wish I had spent more time with them, and if I had spent a lot more time with them, then I would have known a lot more. Absolutely. And I didn't call it mentorship, but now I could claim it. It is a mentor.
100%. Well, that brings us into our first segment of the day, which is Curb Appeals. Today we're highlighting Ed Hendrickson from the Hard Money Project, and he's talking about mentoring and how he can help with educating people on how to be an investor. So let's check it out.
Have you ever wanted to start investing in real estate, but maybe you're afraid or you didn't know where to start? Maybe you don't have enough money. My name is Ed Hendrickson and I'm a real estate investor. And today I'm going to tell you just how you can get started with the tools you already have. Most people, when they get started in real estate, they think of the traditional loan, the loan that their friends have, maybe their parents have to buy their own property. With those loans, you're going to need bank statements, tax returns, pay stubs, all the boring documents. That's just going to already extend what's potentially a slow process. There are other options. There's a hard money loan. Most people, when they hear about a hard money loan, they think about negative things. It comes with a very negative connotation. But first, let's talk about what is a hard money loan. A hard money loan is typically a loan that is backed by the collateral that the lender is lending against. So in this case, it's backed by the real estate. Most lenders don't actually care whether you can pay back the loan. They're more interested in whether the loan is a good loan against the property. But they definitely do care whether you can pay it back, so they will look into that. These are short-term loans as well, 1 to 2 years, unlike your traditional loan that's 30 years. How does the hard money loan work? Well, a hard money loan works in 2 ways. There's 2 parts. You get a purchase loan and then you have a construction loan. First, they're going to lend you somewhere to help you with the purchase, right? Anywhere from 70 to 90% of the purchase price. And then they're going to lend you construction funds. The way the construction fund process works is if you have a project where you need $50,000, they're going to lend it out in a draw schedule, which is paid in arrears. So the way that works is maybe you'll do $10,000 worth of work, then the lender will come out, they'll verify the work, and then they'll replenish your funds for $10,000. and so on and so forth as the project goes on. This way, they're lending you the full $50,000 and you're only coming out of pocket maybe $10,000 or less because you can use your credit card. What does a hard money loan cost? Well, a hard money loan is the same sort of traditional cost that you would expect when you're getting any sort of loan. You're gonna have to do an appraisal, you'll have to get insurance on the property, there's gonna be title insurance as well, and then you're gonna have to pay your taxes, of course. But what it does have is points associated to it. This is sort of an underwriting fee that they charge. A point is a percent. So if you have a $100,000 loan and they charge you 2 points, they're gonna charge you $2,000. There are some downfalls that come with hard money loan lending. That's typically the high interest rate. So hard money loans typically have rates anywhere from 9 to 12%. Now most people hear that and think, how am I gonna make any money on this project? Well, that's just not the case, right? You need to go through and run your numbers. Whether you're paying cash or whether you're using a hard money loan, you still need to look at the whole picture. You're gonna run your costs on your interest, your taxes, your insurance, how much your rehab's gonna be, any sort of buying or selling costs that you're gonna incur, and then you're gonna see how profitable the deal is and make your decision as to whether you should do the deal or not. Interest is really just a cost of doing business. Now most people think, where can I find a hard money lender? Well, there's a couple main options, right? You can go to Google, you can go to your local networking events where other people who are already doing projects are at, you can ask your realtor, or you can stop at a service like mine, the Hard Money Project. We offer a service where you can come online and you can put your project on our platform. So you tell us all the details, what you're buying the property for, what kind of rehab you're doing, and then other lenders will be there to bid on the project. This way, you'll get a couple bids, you'll get the most transparency because they're gonna tell you all the fees up front. And no longer are the days of you having to call 3 or 4 lenders and try to pitch your property to them to see if they're interested in the deal. Now you'll be pitching the project to 10, 20 lenders and getting yourself 2 or 3 bids and find out what the best offers are. I know that seems like a lot, but in ending, guys, don't be afraid. Get out there, go meet people, go to networking events, talk to other people who are doing hard money. Feel free to give me a call. Check it out at contact@hardmoneyproject.com. That's my direct email, where you can speak to me and I'll give you advice from my personal experience doing these kinds of loans. Good luck, guys, and I hope to see you out there.
Thank you so much, Ed Hendrickson, for all that valuable information. When we first put together the Curb Appeal segment, we envisioned it to be a small mentorship in each one of your lives to make you just a little bit better. Recently, I had the honor of interviewing Sean Copko, who is a staff sergeant for the United States Air Force. And what makes him special is that he trains other soldiers on how to survive in extreme circumstances. So I guess you can call him a mentor to all of his trainees as well. I was very excited about this interview, and you're going to see exactly why in just a second. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited about today's interview. I am joined with Sean Copko from the United States Air Force. He has a really interesting title, but I will let him explain it because I will definitely butcher it if I attempt to.
Yeah, no worries. Staff Sergeant Copko in the United States Air Force, and my full title is a SERE Specialist. So SERE, S-E-R-E, stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape.
Well, you didn't just have plans to join the Air Force as a kid. From what we spoke about, I think this is something that you chose later on in life. But tell me at what point in your I guess, your transition into the military did you decide that it was the right move for you?
So basically, when I had gotten out of college, I had been working a graphic design job for a couple of years, kind of bouncing around from a couple odd jobs as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, though, I didn't feel like I was doing enough for other people. I mean, I spent a lot of time supporting my father when he was sick, when he had cancer. When I was 18, he passed away. And I was a part of a college football team, and everything I had been doing my entire life was team-oriented. Okay. Always about supporting other people, supporting the people next to you. And when I got into the real world and I was working in graphic design, I realized I just wasn't getting that fulfillment of helping other people and doing enough for other people.
So you're a part of a team. Obviously, you're in a football team. That feels great to know that the guy next to you has your back and you have their back.
Absolutely.
Going into the career or the profession that you studied for, graphic design, did it feel like you were alone at times and that you were kind of not being fulfilled? You were meant to do more?
It wasn't necessarily the feeling of being alone. It was more so that I felt like no matter what, the impact that I had on whoever I was doing the art for just wasn't as much as I could actually give in this world. Yeah. But the ultimate mission of what I'm trying to do is trying to help somebody else, because I told myself a successful career for me in the military would be if what I did, my actions could bring one mother, one father back to their family.
Yeah.
If I could save one son, one daughter, whatever it may be, if I could do something to help somebody else's family, just one life, that would be successful all 20 years.
That's an amazing way of thinking, because most people think that they're not enough. You're opposite. You're thinking, I'm too much for what I'm currently doing. I can do so much more with what I have. How do you make that mind shift? Did you ever doubt yourself, like maybe I should just stay in my lane and just be a graphic designer? Or did you think to yourself, you know what, I'm never going to listen to that voice. I'm going to make my life worth something that I want to live?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the main mental obstacles to overcome to get to that point is always, you see a lot of people tell themselves, I've already done this much to get to this point, let me settle and do this job for a couple of years. And I just didn't feel like settling at that point was something that I could do. And if you have something and understand why you're doing things, not necessarily, it's never about what you're doing, but if you know why you are truly doing something, that's why you can end up moving forward and using that perseverance in order to achieve that goal that you're looking for.
Now tell me about the conversation you had with your parents or your mom when you decided to leave your graphic design that you went to school for, and then now going to pursue a career in the military?
Oh, it was nothing but support.
Yeah,
my mother is one of the most supportive people that I've ever had in my life, and she will always say yes to whatever it is I want to do as long as I know why I'm doing it.
Wow.
It wasn't something that I just did on a whim, and she thought that I was being almost, I can't even think of the word, just having like a dream almost, just kind of like a fool's dream type deal. She was very supportive and understood that anything that I put my mind to, I was going to be able to achieve. And having that type of support system and surrounding yourself with people that are also forwarding that type of goal is one of the more important things you can have as well.
That's so amazing. You need that. Every kid needs that, the support of their parents. Now, besides that, right, I know that you had your mom's support, but tell me now about day one. Day one when you went to training, or you first day in the military, did you get cold feet? How did it feel?
No, it was very interesting because I went in a little bit later. So typically you're surrounded by a lot of people that are going 18, 19 years old, don't have any college. I'm going in at 24 with a college degree, already lived life a little bit. So you get in and it's almost reverting back to being a child again. Not necessarily saying that they treat you like a child, but it goes down to bare basics. They teach you how to walk, how to talk, how to carry yourself. I mean, everybody gets put on this flat playing ground to where the lowest common denominator, we are all equals no matter your age or what you've done life experience. But that extra life experience that you have gives you extra things to hang on to, especially when things are low. There were a lot of times during training, especially in the basic military training, where there's an 18-year-old kid where this is the first time he's ever experienced any type of hardship. First time leaving home, first time having a job, first time with an income, and I'm somebody who's already done that. So it also gives you the opportunity not just to follow the Air Force's lead, but to start to develop your own leadership of your own, to become a mentor in some way. And I felt that give and take between all your different peers ends up setting yourself up not to only grow as a leader, but grow as a follower and bring those two things together to really become a complete airman, which I thought was very important for me.
That's an amazing story. Tell us about your training, if you can.
Initially, I can go through a bunch of it. So initially, your first phase happens down in Texas, and it's a few weeks of understanding different skills that you may need while you're out in the woods. And a lot of it comes down to the cadre evaluating what is your level of detail? What is your level of dedication? What are you able to do when you're under stress, when you're dehydrated, when you're sleep deprived? A lot of our training does happen under sleep deprivation. So what they'll do is they'll do task overload in order to cause stress inoculation.
Of course.
Essentially, in bare terms, what that means is they will give you 15 projects that you can only fit in a time span where you can really only do 8 projects. And throughout the entire weekend, whether it's understanding different types of maps, making improvised gear, anything along those lines, they overload you to see what you're willing to push your way through. And there were a lot of times in that initial phase of training where you worked for 22 hours, sleep an hour, and then you show up for the cadre another hour, and you do it on repeat every single day.
So you've had some extreme circumstances out there in the survival world, and when you had to obviously teach others as well. But is there a certain time when you were either training or teaching that sticks out in your mind that was really off the wall, like something, an extreme case that most people probably wouldn't survive in?
I would say that people are more resilient than they realize that they are. And so I think most people can survive through 99% of situations that they're put in with the right mentality and making sure they have the right checklist in their head of things they need to do. One of the toughest things for me that will always stand out in my head is we do a lot of our Arctic below zero training up in Alaska.
Okay.
And I was doing my training up there for the initial time, and my first night, they basically give you a choice of you can sleep in this type of shelter or you can sleep in a one-man life raft, which is what you would get if you were a fighter pilot. It would come out of your ejection seat, and you would have this one-man life raft, and you learn ways to contort that into a snow shelter. So I figured, oh yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try the hardest thing. I don't want to sleep in this tent, this design thing. I want to try the thing that the actual pilot's going to be using on the ground.
Okay.
Well, that night we ended up having some kind of storm come in, and this is all tundra. There's no trees. It's just ice and snow, and it got down to negative 64 after the wind chill.
Wow.
And I woke up in the middle of the night, and my one man had opened up, and I was slowly filling with snow. So I had to sit there and shovel out all the snow that had been sitting on top of me in negative 64-degree weather, and that was probably one of the most miserable nights that I had, to where I thought, if anybody had to be in this without being set up or not knowing what to do, this is the type of thing that we teach for and live for, because this could really hurt someone very quickly.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Well, most of the general audience that's watching this today, they're probably never going to experience something of that caliber, but we have experienced things such as natural events, Sandy, Katrina, things like that, where people lose power, they lose water, maybe there's an emergency, state of emergency going on where there's no gasoline. What are some of the basic things that people can do to just be able to survive in some of these circumstances?
Sure. So we like to live by a rule of threes, is one of the concepts that we teach. And so you can go 3 minutes without air, typically, ish. You can go 3 days without water or sleep, and you can go 3 weeks without food. Anything beyond those, and they're just general numbers. Obviously, you hear some instances of people going longer, shorter, but those are the rules that we typically live by. So you want to create these deadlines of, if my power is going to go out, and I know that the power is going to be out for however many days, I'm not going to have water, whatever it is, stock up on the things based off of those timelines. Now, obviously, you can't really stock up on air, right? But with the water aspect and the sleep aspect, make sure that if you are planning for it, water is one of the most essential things that people don't realize that they need. And if you think you have enough, you need more as well. And not only that, but we also teach a very important concept of different types of layers for your clothing, okay? It's the Colder principle, essentially, C-O-L-D-E-R. But one of the more important things is a lot of people think that you need to, it's rather you have your summer weight clothes and then you have a huge jacket, parka, whatever it may be. What we recommend is you always have different layers that you can strip on and off as you're working or as you're moving, in case you sweat through a bottom layer, because you don't want to rely on just one set of clothing that you have, especially if it gets wet, because a lot of times the one thing that kills people is hypothermia based off of wet clothing, and that's a lot of time can happen because of your sweat.
Their own sweat.
Yeah, absolutely. And most cases of hypothermia actually happen in 40 and 50-degree weather, not necessarily in below temperatures, because their clothes are wet. And so lots of change of clothes, always change your socks, absolutely. But water in their home, water set up somewhere is one of the more important things that you can have, and make sure you have access to clean water.
Is there a place where someone can find water in extreme circumstances? Is there like would it be safe to drink from a river? Would it be safe to drink water out of your toilet bowl? Not the bowl, but the tank? Is there places where they can actually...
So surprisingly, you actually can drink. Out of the tank is probably one of the more sanitary areas that you can drink from. But we typically make a hierarchy, and it depends on how long you've already gone without your water. Let's say that it's been 2 days and there's a dirty puddle on the ground that has dirt and mud in it, but it's the only sign of water that I have for miles and miles. Honestly, I'm probably going to take my chances on that water, because either way, I'm probably more than likely going to start, my timeline is going to start getting cut down if I don't drink it, even if I do drink some kind of bug, some kind of issue in there. So when it comes to extreme cases of water, you just need to try and get it wherever you can find it. But also, if you can have access to a better source, or if you have a way of purifying it, also take that in consideration. A lot of people don't realize that you can take water, put it in a clear plastic bottle, and put it out in the sun, and in 12 hours, 24 hours, along those lines, all the UV rays will have killed all the germs in that water. Now, it might be gritty, it might have rocks in it, it might have sediment in it, but it's going to be purified water for you, something where it takes low effort, it takes you don't have to build a fire, you don't have to boil it, and having those types of procedures where if you can have clean water ready and then purified water on the back end, try and find and cycle that as you're moving forward, so you can try and conserve your water supply as much as possible. If
you had to put together an emergency kit or a go backpack, something you have to flee with, what would be in there besides water and clothing?
100% always bring lighters and matches. Those are
lighters and matches.
Yeah, I don't even mess with the flint and steel. You can absolutely, but matches make it so easy for you to light. And in order to build a fire, one of the primary things, and I always use a little Altoid can for this, is an Altoid's mint can opened up, and it's filled with cotton balls and Vaseline. Okay. It is very cheap to buy a bag of cotton balls, buy Vaseline, and it almost works as a wick with its own oil, the same way that a candle would work. Yeah, so you end up getting the cotton balls, not necessarily super saturated, but enough covered, and then when you go to light them, you pull them and you air them out, and all the fibers act like tiny little candle wicks, and all the Vaseline on there will light almost instantly, and that's one of the best fire starting devices you could use. And there are definitely manufactured ones that you can go buy from REI or Dick's Sporting Goods that could work when underneath water, that can work in rain, but in terms of value and the way that you can pack it, I mean, that Altoids can is super small in that pack. One of the things that we also have to think about with bags is the weight that you're carrying. So you don't want to carry this huge bag. Nobody wants to carry 70 pounds when they're trying to survive, but something that small, that size, and that light that can preserve your body heat for the longest it can is, in my view, priceless.
That's amazing. Well, here's something that most people wouldn't think about. What if you're in a group setting and you start to have people break down? So how do you deal with the psychological issues that people might confront? And how would you help that person if they were starting to break down?
Yeah, absolutely. We like to use a term called insulate, don't isolate. So you may have someone on his own, he may be damaging the group because he's having panic attacks, he's having temper, he's starting to get agitated because it's very quick to get hostile with your teammates. But the most important thing you do is bring them back into the fold in some way and see if you can give them little victories within the group in order to regain control over their mindset. And if you can say, hey, listen, man, I know you're a little frustrated. Can you just go do this task real quick and come back? And then you just bring him in to support him. Hey, man, that's awesome that you're able to do that. See, we're able to move forward. We're able to do these things together. Don't stress. We're going to be able to make it through. And once you insulate them back in and everybody gets on the same mindset, it just elevates the whole group. Because you'll be surprised that the will to survive or the lack of will to survive is almost like a virus that can happen very quickly.
It can spread.
And one of the things that we saw in training a lot is once one person decided to blow the horn and quit, you saw the next person quit and the next person quit. And slowly that mentality can start to eat away and spread like a virus. But you can't have that virus happen in an actual survival situation because the more that people to give up, the harder it's going to be to survive for the whole group.
Are there any resources online where someone can go and find out more about survival?
Well, when it comes to joining the Air Force, we have an entire information page on the United States Air Force recruiting page. I mean, you can, and we also have a website called GoSeer.com where you can go and start to look up more information about there. And one of the things with me is I'm actually pretty active on the United States Air Force subreddit on Reddit.com. And every Monday we have a Newbie Thread, we like to call it, where people can go in and ask questions about this, and I'm there every Monday asking or answering questions about SEER and specifically what you do as an instructor and what it's like to be a survival instructor in the Air Force.
That's exactly what I was looking for, if you had something like that, because you know what you're saying today in our interview today could really kind of light a spark in someone, you know, no pun intended, and someone could say, you know what, I love what he did. Like, I feel like that would be so fulfilling for me. Like, I would love to get into that. And not only do you have given us the resource that the government supplies, but you also give back and give great information on Reddit. That's amazing. So the subreddit is entitled SEER? Go SEER?
Oh, no. So the subreddit would just be r/Air Force.
r/Air Force.
Yep, and every Monday it's right there at the top of the page, and it runs all week, and then it'll start again the next Monday, and it'll just be a new set of questions. And I'm there every Monday trying to represent the career field and giving people information.
I love it, brother. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, I appreciate you having me.
I've got so much out of this interview, and Sean Copko, guys, check him out. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been an amazing interview. See you next time. Wow, another amazing show. If you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to give us a comment, a like, a share, even hit that notification bell. Thanks again for watching. See you later.